Hello, my name's Ian Kopak and I joined BEA in 1970 and worked there from 1970 till 1980. As a steward, I was based at Heathrow. The times seemed so different then, so I thought I might just put some of my memories down before my memory finally fails me. I was licensed for Vanguards and Trident 1 and 2. Uh, when I first started, we were issued with our uniforms, and I remember going to the tailors to get them made up. I think we had two lightweight ones and a heavy duty uniform, which I don't think I ever wore, and a hat which we always wore. And we had a service jacket. It was white, and it was white linen, double breasted, with brass buttons and lovely wooden epaulets on the top. I think we had a lovely raincoat, and I think we had a very heavy coat with a belt. I can't remember that. The Vanguard was, when it was introduced, was quite cutting edge. But by the time I joined, it had been in service for a while, and it had been it followed the Vickers Viscount, of course, which was the first commercial turboprop aircraft. But by 1970, the Viscounts and the Vanguards had seen quite a lot of action. In fact, they used to call the aircraft Vickers spare parts flying in formation. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was 18 first class and 108 tourists, and I can't quite remember what the crew numbers were on it, but there must have been 2 in first class and 3 or 4 maybe down the back. The roster consisted mainly of 3 days on and 6 days off. No, they didn't. It consisted of 6 days on and 3 days off. Generally, the first day we started late and finished early on the last day. One of the flights was on the Vanguard was a 6-day Malta. I think the flight time there was 4.5 hours. The service on Vanguards was before the introduction of trolleys, so everything was done by hand, and the drinks were taken out by trays and the meal trays were taken out by hand. When we went to Malta, we used to stay at this lovely hotel called Phoenicia. It's always been a favourite of mine. I think it was owned by BA at the time. It had a lovely colonial feel and it was very luxurious. After arriving there, we had a day off. And in the middle of the 6 days, we had a night flight to Manchester and back, Ringway as it was then. The passengers from Manchester were noticeably different, and we served them drinks on a tray, of course, and we often got a tip, which was lovely, very different from the London passengers. Back at the hotel in the morning, I remember having steak for breakfast on the balcony and a chap there playing the piano while we ate our breakfast. We had another day off. When we got back to Malta, and then on the last day, finally flew back to Heathrow. When I wrote it down, I thought how funny that you remember the good times of staying at the hotel and not much about the flight. But anyway, we came home and had a rest, and then next week's roster was all waiting to be found. I hope you enjoy this. I think I might write down a few more of my memories before it's too late.